What is up? It is Andy, that guy for the second straight year who's lining your pockets with Scrooge McDuck's gold because I'm robbing from the NHL and handing to you. Another very nice night in the books. You saw the Toronto Maple Leafs throw an absolute beating to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Everybody was all scared because they lost. No panickers over here. There's no panickers when a team goes down 1-0. You saw Tampa Bay lose 5-0 in Game 1 last year, went on to win the series. We saw every single member of Toronto's team, every significant member and contributor to that offense get on the board. Nylander hit his point. Riley got his point. They covered the puck line. They covered that -2.5. Everything across the board there hit for you. And then the Colorado Avalanche gave you a little scream moment that they made you worry for a second. It's a scream, baby. And so was Devon Toews' goal in the third to win the game. Colorado won, and I just want to bring back to your attention, don't forget the Edmonton and Colorado series winner bet, the parlay that got to like plus 200. Both of those are now even at 1, and if you were to take both of those teams to win the series right now, they're each minus 240. So be glad you got those ones in. Be glad that you're subscribed to this channel. And if you aren't, I guess you're just on crack during the NHL playoffs, because you definitely should be. So subscribe to the Odd Shopper channel. But it was another great night. And I got news for you. If the under 6.5 in the Vegas-Winnipeg game meant that you won nothing because you parlayed everything together, then you don't deserve to have any money because you never had your car. So many good picks on that. We hit the Makar point, over 1.5 on Lehkonen shots. And if you came over to the Instagram and checked my story, I threw the Connor Hellebuck over on saves. That one hit rather easily. Great Thursday night. It's been mostly a great week other than one little blip. This is what you knew you were getting during the playoffs because it's real hockey. Now, on this Friday night of real hockey, we have a couple of series that are split at 1. And as you saw, after Game 1, I like the clarity that being up or down in a series provide. We used Dallas, Edmonton, Colorado, all trailing 1-0 at home to propel those bets and Toronto for what it's worth. It made it easy for us to bet those Game 2s. But Game 3 is a little bit tougher because you have some series that are split, like the Minnesota-Dallas series, the Edmonton-LA series, and now it's Game 3. I truly believe they can go either way. But then depending on what happens in Game 3, that's what I'll probably do for Game 4 because I see those series both being tied at 2. So I'm not going to be able to give you any sides on those two games. Well, shut your mouth. Don't you want the right picks, or do you just want to be clicking on things? Well, if you want to click on something, there is a team that I like. And maybe you should utilize the Bet365 promotion on them where you bet $1 and then you get $200 in free bet credits as long as you're a new user on the platform, over 21, and located in a state or province where sports betting is permitted. If you're a Guido fist pumping on the Jersey Shore, I got good news for you. They got Bet365. You're some random guy in Jersey. You're one of those Jersey people who's born close to Philly, and you're like a Flyers fan. What a weird thing that. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I don't know if you people up in Quebec. I know I got people in Winnipeg watching. I know I got people in Alert, Canada, up all the way by Santa Claus watching. But Philadelphia is unbelievably close to Jersey, so there are a huge amount of Philadelphia Eagles, Flyers, Phillies fans that live in the state of New Jersey, which just seems weird when you have the New Jersey Devils. Well, just consider yourself lucky that you're not a Devils fan, because you'd have to support that childish roller hockey team that tried to say that they were one of the favorites in the East out there. What a nightmare they are. But, who would have told you that earlier in the year? Who would have said the Devils are frauds earlier in the year? Oh, I remember the same guy who told you that the Panthers, the President's Trophy winners of last year, were frauds. There's real hockey, there's fake hockey. You people, most of you, like fake hockey. You watch the Devils all year. Oh, I like the Devils. That's not real. You never had your car. So the first game that I'm going to look at, if you want to bet sides, and it's not just because I grew up a fan of them. It's not because I'm wearing their hat right now. If you paid attention last year, we took the Hurricanes every game 1, 2, 5, and 7. We bet against the Hurricanes every game 3, 4, and 6. in Boston, in New York against the Rangers, and now this time it's going to be in New York against the Islanders. I'm going to take the Islanders over the Carolina Hurricanes, but this doesn't just have to do with home, road, blah, blah, blah. The Islanders have played better than the Hurricanes 5-on-5 in this series, but more importantly, this Canes team is just decimated. You already knew about the Pacioretty and Svechnikov injuries. Now they've lost Teravainen for the year. He was supposed to be the guy who was going to step up and fill in the void that Svechnikov left. Well, now he's out for the series. Stahl got blasted in the last game and is playing nicked up. Nate just got hurt, something with his leg last game. He's limping around out there. They are a shell of their original selves. And then considering the fact that the Islanders got that, controversial call that was missed in overtime and that screwed them, and then they lost the game right after that, these refs are going to have makeup calls left and right for the Islanders. But even if there aren't those makeup calls, I think this is a game that the Islanders are going to win. So give me the New York Islanders at home against the Carolina Hurricanes. And then within that game, there are a couple players I'm going to focus on. You remember last year when that Stahl line at home just shut down the Bergeron line with Pasternak and Marchand, but then they came home and were able to just rake up points? Well, the Islanders don't have a line like that, but they do have a line that was playing well down there with Barzal's re-entry. It was Barzal, Horvat, and Lee. Barzal scored last game. There were a couple chances in game one that they weren't able to convert on, but when you consider the fact that they might be given a lot of power plays in this game, the fact that they're going to be getting away from the Stahl line, give me Horvat over 2.5 shots on goal, and give me a Horvat point. Maybe a little sprinkle of a Barzal assist as well, because we know that if somebody is going to be dishing it out, whether on the power play or even straight, it's usually Barzal, even though he was the one who scored last game. So that's what I like in that one. Now, those other two games I just told you about, the ones that are split at 1, it's tough for me to pick a side. So I'm not just going to force bets so that people like you can put in 12-team parlays and then get upset when one doesn't hit. But in that game, the same way in game 1, I was taking the over on saves for the visiting goalies, and that worked out for every single one other than Shesterkin. Like, worked out for Hellebuck last night. It worked out for Grubauer in 2 straight games. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to bet on the visiting team who's going to deal with the home team that's pumped up because of the crowd and everything. And the goalies that fit that bill tonight are Stuart Skinner and Jake Ottinger. I will take the over on save totals for both of them in their respective games tonight. And in that Dallas-Minnesota game, I think that those two teams in this particular game, it's a crucial game. It's tied at 1. There may be, not fully, because it's a game 3, it's a first home game for Minnesota, but there may be a tad bit of clenched ass cheeks factor in this one. I'm very tempted to go under. You got to pump it up. Last game was a Marc-Andre Fleury game. Lord knows why they played him. Maybe they felt the poor performance incoming, but anytime you throw Fleury in there, there's just a ruckus factor. It seems like goals are going in left and right for both teams. We're going to have Gustafsson back in this one. It's going to be a Gustafsson Ottinger. So I already told you I think that the over on Ottinger can be a good idea. I don't feel as good about the Ottinger one as I do about the Stuart Skinner one. But I do want to go back to Cyril Kaprizov over 3.5 shots on goal. In that first game back using the crowd, I think any sort of power play opportunity, he'll be firing them. And I also think Matt Zuccarello finds himself on the score sheet by the end of this game. I'll take the over 0.5 point on Matt Zuccarello. Now there's one other game, I guess we'll save that for the end, the Boston game. As far as the Edmonton game goes, I'll just go back to Connor McDavid. I think the more that he doesn't find himself on the score sheet, the more likely that he is to shoot. So if they've set his shots at 3.5 once again, you can go ahead and fire that up. I'll never be upset when someone like McDavid is going through a dry spell. How funny is that 1 point in 2 games was a dry spell? To go over 1.5 on his points. Just he's that good. And it's just the likelihood of him continuing to struggle is so... It's not like he hasn't been getting chances. If you saw in that first game, he could have had 2 goals, but, great saves were made by Korpisalo, so I think he could probably find himself on the score sheet. But my favorite bet in this one is the same thing that I gave you game 1. I think both teams to score 2+ is probably my favorite because you're going to get a good effort from the Kings' first home game. They've scored more than 2 in both games 1 and 2. Same thing with Edmonton. Edmonton's defense is what it is. I did not fall for it like everybody did at the end of the season. They blew another 2-goal lead in game 2. So even if they get a lead, I don't think it's safe. But they have an offense where if LA gets a lead, they can come back. I think it's a good little potion for both teams, 2+. And if you want to combine that with something, it's hard for me not to take the Boston Bruins. Just when you remove the fact that they lost last game like 6-3, you're talking about the team that just set the record for most wins of all time, and you're getting a fair price on them. Yes, they lost last game. But too many times we get caught up in what just happened. And by we, I mean you. I mean, I don't know how many times I have to keep telling Aaron Rodgers, relax. That Tampa Game 1 beating meant 0 to me. 0. But for you, I mean, it changed your whole lives. The whole trajectory of your life changed because of what you saw in that Game 1. But I don't function like that. The Boston Bruins are one of the best teams of all time. I'm getting a fair price on them, and if they lose, so be it. I will take them at -155, so give me the Bruins in that one. And that's what I got for you here on a Friday, heading into the weekend. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you're subscribed to the Odd Shopper channel. I don't know why you wouldn't be. Come follow me on social media so you can get a nice bonus extra pick like I gave you last night. Gave you a little hellabuck, hit you a little hellabuck, and that's what you get. So follow me over there. It's at Andy Francis. And if you've been winning money during the playoffs, like you probably have, why don't you stop being cheap bastards and buy yourself some sniff drip over at andyfrancis.com or on the front page of my Instagram. Hit View Shop. And I've been sending out shirts this week. If you wear it, I'll reshare it. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. But I will see you guys on Monday.